Have you ever wondered why some women, as they age, become strangely captivating? They don't rely on heavy makeup, a perfect figure, or the vibrancy of youth. Yet they make others pause, take notice, and listen. Meanwhile, some seem to fade from the world's gaze, as if the light within them has dimmed. Jung said the difference doesn't lie in genes or luck. It lies in the depths of the inner self, in the process of a woman daring to turn inward, confront herself, and be reborn through the layers of the unconscious. It is the inevitable result of her ceasing to seek validation from others' eyes and beginning to look deeply within herself. So, what makes an older woman impossible to ignore? It's not beauty techniques. It's an energy field emanating from an awakened consciousness. In today's video, I'll reveal 7 habits, 7 keys to unlocking your authentic self. Stay until the end, because the 6th habit, it might make you rethink your entire life. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're joining me from today. Leave a comment below. Feel free to ask any questions, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the insightful videos from the shadow work. Habit 1. Confidence, the invisible crown of a mature woman. The confidence of a mature woman is not loud, not a series of bold declarations, nor a display of dazzling dresses to prove her worth to the world. It's like an invisible crown. No one needs to bestow it, no one needs to acknowledge it, yet everyone nearby feels its weight and majesty. True confidence is entirely different from the artificial confidence society often praises. We see women who wear a facade of pride, laughing loudly, proving themselves at every turn. But then, a single unkind glance or a small critique shatters them. That's not confidence. It's merely the mask Jung called the persona, the shell we use to interact with society. A mature woman doesn't need that mask. She has realized that true confidence doesn't come from external gazes, but from accepting herself, her scars, her fears, her failures, and even her shadow side. People are drawn to her not because she's perfect, but because she no longer strives to appear perfect. Picture 2 women walking into the same cafe. The first is young, dressed fashionably, constantly checking her reflection on her phone screen, her eyes glued to notifications as if her worth depends on others' approval. The second is older, unadorned, yet sits with a straight posture, her gaze unflinching, her smile soft and serene, as if she's entirely at home in this world. Patrons might glance curiously at the young woman for a moment, then look away. But their eyes linger on the second woman, not because of external dazzle, but because of the energy of groundedness, something everyone craves, though few can name. True confidence is the stillness of a deep lake. Others may toss a pebble into its surface, but after a few ripples, it returns to calm. A mature woman isn't easily stirred by praise or criticism, by judging looks or indifference. She doesn't need to prove she's beautiful enough, capable enough, worthy enough. That's what makes her irresistibly captivating. Her serenity is rare in a world where most live in tension and fear of rejection. Jung believed confidence comes from reconciling with the shadow within, the parts of ourselves we often deny. Envy, weakness, selfishness, past mistakes. A young woman often hides these dark sides, believing that revealing them would make her unlovable. But a mature woman is different. She knows the shadow isn't to be erased, but recognized and integrated. Like the moon, its beauty comes not only from its light, but from the darkness that embraces it. When a woman can say, "I'm not perfect, but I am whole," she becomes a magnetic force, because truth is always more alluring than pretense. Confidence also shows in how a woman faces solitude. An immature woman fears being alone, as if solitude was a verdict of her inadequacy. But a mature woman sees moments of solitude as opportunities to return to herself. She can sit in a quiet room, read a book, sip tea, write in her journal, and still feel complete. She no longer seeks external presence to fill an inner void. She knows her most faithful companion is herself. This confidence, when it radiates outward, means she doesn't need to beg for anyone's attention. Instead, others are drawn to her, like seeking a safe harbor in life's storms. The key is this: confidence isn't innate. It's a habit forged daily. It's the habit of looking in the mirror and smiling at yourself instead of pointing out flaws. It's the habit of standing tall, even when weary, not to impress others, but to remind your body it deserves respect. It's the habit of speaking less, so that every word carries the weight of awareness. And most importantly, it's the habit of self-forgiveness, not imprisoning yourself in regret, not letting the past define the present. Jung once emphasized, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Confidence is that privilege. It doesn't come from degrees, wealth, or appearance, but from the bravest journey of all, becoming yourself. A woman who walks this path wears an invisible crown, one no one can take away, forged from the experiences, pain, lessons, and light she has lived through. Habit 2. Letting go of seeking attention, becoming the one who is desired. The invisible crown of confidence gives a mature woman a quiet magnetism. But there's another secret, another habit that makes her light shine even brighter: letting go of the need for attention. The more we crave others' gazes, the more we lose ourselves. Only by ending that chase does a woman become truly desirable. In psychology, Jung spoke of the projections of the unconscious. When we desperately seek attention, we project our inner lack outward, tying our worth to others' reactions. It's like carrying an empty vessel, running around waiting for someone to fill it. But the paradox is this: the more we hold out that vessel, the less anyone wants to pour into it. The craving for attention, when exposed, is like noise. It diminishes mystery, diminishes allure. Conversely, when a woman fills her vessel with joy, vitality, and care for herself, she stops standing in wait. Others, instead of feeling pressured to fill her, are drawn to her wholeness. Jung wrote, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." The more we cling, the more we lose. The more we let go, the more we attract. Think of an open window to a lush garden. If you stand there daily, calling people to come look, pointing and inviting, they'll glance briefly and move on. But if you quietly live in that house, tending the garden for your joy, someone passing by will stop, captivated by the beauty you didn't try to flaunt. Likewise, true allure isn't a loud call, but a silent secret. In real life, this is evident in relationships. A woman who hasn't let go of seeking attention constantly worries. Is he texting? Does he still care? She checks her phone every minute, adjusts her plans to fit someone else's schedule. But this behavior sends a message: I'm not enough, so I need you to affirm my worth. And nothing erodes allure faster than revealing that lack. Psychology calls this the scarcity principle. What's not easily obtained feels more valuable. But for a mature woman, this isn't a psychological game or a deliberate strategy to seem elusive. It's the natural outcome of valuing her time, energy, and presence. She doesn't chase or cling because she knows what's meant for her will find her. Recall the feeling of hearing music from afar, a gentle melody floating in the air. Because it's not loud, you want to move closer to listen more deeply. But if that same melody blares, repeating endlessly, it becomes annoying. Attention is like that. A woman who craves attention is like music played too loud. People pull away. A woman who lets go of that need is like a distant melody. The quieter it is, the more it sparks curiosity. Pause and look within. In relationships, in work, in every breath of life, what kind of music are you? A tune blaring, always trying to fill the silence with others' attention. The answer might surprise you, because sometimes simply letting go of the need to be seen makes you the view no one can look away from. This holds not only in love, but in everyday life. A woman chasing the spotlight, fretting over every like on social media, finds herself increasingly depleted. But a woman who focuses on personal joys, learning a new dance, tending a plant, writing a journal page, suddenly glows. She radiates an inner light, not one reflected from others' eyes. Letting go of seeking attention doesn't mean becoming cold or distant. On the contrary, it's an expansion of freedom. She no longer depends on how others see her. This makes her energy relaxed, inviting, like a faint fragrance that doesn't demand but draws others closer. A man might feel safe beside her, knowing she doesn't need to cling to me to exist. That freedom is what makes her irresistibly captivating. Remember, craving attention often stems from a deep fear of not being enough, fear of being abandoned. But when a woman dares to face that fear, to sit with the void, to be alone and still feel whole, she steps into a new level of allure. She becomes a symbol of what Jung always emphasized, wholeness. And that wholeness is what draws every gaze to her, even when she isn't seeking it. Once a woman finds that wholeness, her energy needs a form to express itself outwardly. Her allure is no longer just in her presence, but in the tangible symbol she wears daily, her style. Habit 3. Using style as a symbol, an expression of the archetype. When others' eyes are drawn to her, the first thing they notice isn't just her presence, but how she chooses to express herself through style, a silent yet powerful language. In Jung's view, style isn't just clothing or colors. It's a living symbol, a doorway to the archetypes buried deep in the collective unconscious. Jung wrote, "A symbol does not define or explain. It points beyond itself to a meaning that is darkly divined, yet still beyond our grasp, and cannot be adequately expressed in the familiar words of our language." Style is how a woman sends signals from the deepest layers of her soul. It doesn't just tell the story of who I am in the present, but evokes primal memories we all share. That's why some women dressed simply, jeans, a white shirt, stand out in a crowd, while others in designer brands fade into the background. The difference lies in this. One lives true to her symbol, while the other wears only a mask. In real life, you see this when entering a crowded room. Someone catches your eye, not because they're the most glamorous, but because their style resonates with their inner energy. It might be a middle-aged woman with naturally gray hair, her face nearly bare of makeup, yet her eyes and posture exude ripeness, silencing the room. Or an older woman choosing bold statement earrings, declaring, "I've lived enough to embrace the wildness within me." These details aren't just fashion, they're symbolic proclamations, impossible to ignore. What's fascinating is that style is never separate from psychology. If you choose an outfit just to please others, it's like a coat of paint that easily peels. But if you choose one that reflects your mood and essence, it becomes a mirror of your soul. That's why some days, in a simple outfit, everyone says, "You're glowing today." Because in that moment, your clothing, energy, and soul are in harmony. In truth, fashion can be seen as a form of unconscious language. Colors are emotional tones, shapes are symbols of roles. Sturdy shoes might evoke practicality and strength. A flowing silk dress might symbolize grace and femininity. A mature woman doesn't chase trends to be seen, but chooses style to be understood, not by logic, but by others' instinctual perception. Coco Chanel once said, "Dress shabbily, and they remember the dress. Dress impeccably, and they remember the woman." In Jung's spirit, we could add, "Dress as the archetype living within you, and they'll remember your soul." This means style doesn't need to be elaborate, just true to your inner voice. When you wear a shirt that makes you feel powerful, or a color that brightens your heart, you're letting style become a symbol of your soul. Another overlooked aspect: scent. Fragrance is the oldest language, tied to the deepest parts of the brain, where primal memories and emotions reside. A subtle woody scent might evoke safety and maturity. A hint of jasmine might awaken gentleness and femininity. A mature woman knows fragrance isn't just an accessory, but an unconscious imprint others carry long after she's gone. The core truth: style isn't about decorating yourself for others to admire. It's the materialization of your inner journey. Each time you choose an outfit, you're sending a message. Who am I today? Which archetype within me do I wish to express? If you choose rightly, you're not just dressing well, you're symbolizing your essence. And when style becomes a symbol, it transcends trends, becoming something others remember, not for its glamour, but for its truth. Habit 4. Embracing feminine energy, the power of the flow. If style is the tangible symbol through which the world glimpses your soul, feminine energy is the invisible current that others don't see but always feel. It's like a subtle fragrance in a room, shaping the entire atmosphere. And it is this energy that creates a lasting, profound, and inimitable allure. Carl Jung wrote about the anima and animus, the archetypes representing the feminine in men and the masculine in women. According to him, true maturity comes when a person learns to reconcile these two forces within themselves. Yet many women, as they navigate life, are taught that to succeed, they must be strong, competitive, controlling, and decisive. In other words, they must live by the logic of the animus. As a result, they become accomplished and dynamic, but grow increasingly disconnected from their natural feminine energy. When this happens, their innate allure fades, replaced by tension, rigidity, and an unapproachable demeanor. Imagine two rivers. One is dammed, controlled, its flow forced to bend to human command. It may generate power, but it loses its beauty, its freedom. The other river flows to its rhythm, sometimes gently reflecting the sky, surging with force, yet always vibrant and nourishing. A woman disconnected from her feminine energy is like the dammed river. A woman who returns to that energy is like the freely flowing water, both graceful and powerful. That is the strength of the flow. What makes feminine energy so potent is its ability to influence without imposing. It's not the strength of a wind that topples trees, but of water seeping into the earth, nurturing life. A woman who reconnects with this energy doesn't need to argue to win or strain to prove herself. Her presence speaks for itself. Like the moon, it never competes with the sun for light, yet when it appears, all eyes turn to it. Jung emphasized that men's deepest fear often stems from the mystery of women, because a woman carries the power to awaken both the light and shadow within them. This is what makes feminine energy uniquely captivating. When a woman has moved through her wounds and no longer uses control as a shield, she can sit in stillness, allowing things to come and go like a river. The man beside her finds himself changed, softened, more authentic, drawn to stay closer, without understanding why. To feel this more clearly, consider an everyday conversation. A woman operating in masculinized energy might constantly steer the discussion, interrupt, or impose her views. The listener feels judged or cornered. But a woman living in her feminine energy listens fully, without interrupting or rushing to counter. Her gaze doesn't scrutinize, it receives. The speaker feels safe, free to reveal even their most vulnerable parts. And that's when attraction blossoms through the energy of receptivity. The habit of awakening feminine energy can start with simple acts, spending time with your body, as it's the direct gateway to this energy. A spontaneous dance, a gentle yoga session, a moment soaking in warm water. These aren't frivolous indulgences, but ways a woman reconnects with her natural rhythm. When the body is allowed to relax, the mind stops straining to control. And when the mind lets go, feminine energy flows freely. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." For women, part of that journey is returning to their feminine energy after tirelessly playing roles that demand strength and proof. When she embraces her softness, she doesn't lose strength. Rather, she discovers a new kind of power, quiet but enduring, like water wearing down stone. What about you? When you think of your journey back to your feminine energy, what's the greatest challenge? And when have you touched that powerful softness within? Share your experience below. We're always here to listen. Habit 5. The art of soulful communication, dialogue from the depths. If feminine energy is the invisible current others sense intuitively, language is the surface ripple they encounter first. When these two merge, a mature woman's words become a soulful melody, not just conveying information, but touching the heart. A conversation may last mere minutes, but its echo can linger in someone's memory for a lifetime. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." A true dialogue, then, isn't just an exchange of information, but a mutual transformation. A mature woman understands this. For her, communication isn't about manipulation or performing to impress. It's the art of connecting from the depths, where her unconscious touches another's. A conversation with such a woman feels like sitting in a quiet room, lit by flickering candlelight, where everything slows down. You're not interrogated, interrupted, or judged. You simply feel heard to your core. Her touch is so subtle that you leave feeling both illuminated and healed. Jung asserted that the deepest level of connection occurs when two unconscious minds meet. This means the unspoken, breath, gaze, and pauses matter as much as, if not more than, the spoken. A mature woman knows this, so she allows silence to be present in communication. She understands that the space between words can reveal more than 1,000 sentences. Just as in music, it's not only the notes, but the rests that create the melody. What makes her communication so captivating is the blend of authenticity and mystery. She doesn't bear all or use words to manipulate. She reserves space for silence, for a glance, for a smile. The other person feels shared with enough to trust, yet there's something still unknown, and that unknown draws them back again. Her voice, in particular, is a vital element. A voice isn't just sound, it's the instrument of the soul. When a mature woman has reconciled her inner self, her voice carries the rhythm of a steady heartbeat, a gentle energy. Listeners don't just hear words, they hear a cadence. Her voice might flow like a babbling brook, making others want to linger just to hear more. Many men say they remember a woman's voice more than her face, because a voice imprints deeply on emotional memory. A mature woman knows this, so she doesn't rush or raise her voice to dominate. She speaks slowly, with rhythm, letting energy flow through each word. This makes even the simplest phrases like, "I'm so glad you're here," haunting, like an unforgettable melody. The art of soulful communication isn't a technique learned from books, but the result of listening to oneself. When a woman learns to be silent with her inner self, she knows when to be silent with others. When she asks herself profound questions, she learns to offer others questions that open doors. And having endured enough pain to stop judging herself, she learns not to judge others. That's why talking with a mature woman feels like sitting by a warm fire. You're not only warmed, but safe to shed your outer layers. In an era where people easily forget one another, a mature woman with the art of deep communication becomes an eternal memory in others' hearts. Habit 6. Living independently, becoming your universe. If the art of soulful communication allows a woman to touch others' hearts, independence transforms her into an entire universe that others yearn to explore. For only when a woman is whole within herself can she offer love without turning it into a transaction. Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Independence is the result of daring to face this fear, daring to stand alone and feel enough, daring to live fully without needing anyone to bear witness. In society, many women are taught from a young age that they are only complete with a man by their side, a family to lean on, or a role validated by society. But a mature woman understands that she is not a half, but a whole. She doesn't live to fill someone else's void, nor does she expect others to fill hers. She has become an entire world, with vast skies, fields, rivers, nights, and radiant dawns. And only those with enough courage can step into that world. Picture the difference in a relationship. A woman who isn't independent easily loses herself. She changes her preferences to match her partner's, cancels plans to fit his schedule, and even abandons her dreams out of fear of being left. The relationship becomes an anchor that binds her. But an independent woman is different. She has her career, passions, friends, and personal rituals. When she loves, she opens her heart's door, but doesn't lock herself inside. And here's the paradox. This very freedom makes men want to stay long-term because they feel chosen, not obligated. Jung called this process of maturity individuation, stepping out of societal roles to become one's true self. When a woman dares to shed the images of the good girl, the perfect wife, or the self-sacrificing mother, she begins to face her shadow, her selfishness, her rebellion, her craving for freedom. By confronting these, she is no longer controlled by them. She no longer lives to please but to be authentic. That is the foundation of independence. Independence doesn't mean isolation or rejecting love. It's like an ancient tree. Its roots dig deep into the earth. That's her connection to herself. Its trunk stands firm. That's her tested resilience. And its branches spread wide. That's her readiness to connect with the world. The tree doesn't need to lean on another to stand tall, yet it offers shade and fruit to those who come near. An independent woman is the same. She stands strong alone, but her presence enriches others. This creates a powerful psychological effect. A man entering the life of such a woman doesn't feel like her savior, but a companion. He isn't burdened with filling her voids because she has filled them herself. And because he isn't pressured, he feels at ease, free, and wants to stay. Independence, therefore, doesn't make a woman distant. It makes her captivating in her freedom. Jung wrote, "The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents." How many women have abandoned their dreams to live someone else's life, only to realize at the end that they never truly lived? A mature woman is different. She allows herself to learn a new skill, travel alone, start a small project, or simply spend an evening reading a beloved book instead of forcing herself into a meaningless date. This isn't selfishness, it's respect for her soul. And when a woman respects herself, the world learns to respect her too. Independence is also the measure of true love. When a woman can say, "I don't need you to live, but I want you in my life," that statement is more powerful than any vow. It comes not from fear of loss, but from the freedom of a whole soul. And when love is built on freedom, it endures. This is a quiet moment to give yourself. Imagine a day when you no longer need to prove your worth through others' eyes. How would you choose to live? That answer could open a new door, not just for love, but for how you exist in this life. Independence, ultimately, is about becoming a world worth entering. A world with the light of confidence, the shadows of experience, the flavor of dreams, and the vastness of unceasing aspirations. A man walking beside such a woman no longer feels he owns her, but is invited to stroll through a mysterious universe. And the deeper he ventures, the more he wants to stay. But for that universe to have lasting allure, another subtler, deeper element is needed: emotional maturity. If independence is the form of freedom, emotional maturity is the climate that nurtures it, creating a serene haven that everyone longs to return to. Habit 7. Emotional maturity, stillness as the ultimate attraction. Carl Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." An emotionally mature woman deeply understands this. She no longer lets her past, pain, betrayals, or failures control her. She allows them to be experiences, not chains. Her allure doesn't come from never having been hurt, but from having walked through hurt and emerged with serene eyes. Emotional maturity doesn't mean being devoid of emotions. On the contrary, It's the ability to live with emotions without being swept away by them. An immature woman might cry over a careless remark, rage over a delayed message, or erupt in petty arguments. Her allure is fragile, like a flame in the wind. But an emotionally mature woman is like a deep lake. It reflects the sky, ripples with the breeze, but never loses its inherent stillness. Jung emphasized that much of human suffering comes from being controlled by the unconscious. An emotionally mature woman has undertaken the journey of making the unconscious conscious. When emotions arise, she recognizes them. This is my fear of abandonment. This is an old wound resurfacing, instead of letting them erupt into uncontrolled reactions. This ability creates a calm energy field that others can rely on. In everyday life, emotional maturity shows in the smallest details. It's the way she calmly waits in a long line without irritation. It's how she avoids toxic gossip because she doesn't need joy from others' pain. It's the way she smiles at a jab, knowing her worth isn't defined by external eyes. These small, repeated moments build a quiet yet powerful aura. Compare this to a garden. An emotionally immature woman is like a garden full of flowers, but overrun with weeds, constantly needing tending, easily losing its beauty after a storm. An emotionally mature woman is like a garden seasoned by many cycles, its trees deeply rooted, its blooms timed to nature's rhythm, its soil fertile. Those who enter feel at ease, wanting to linger, sensing its stability and enduring vitality. Emotional maturity isn't coldness. She still loves, hurts, and cries, but she doesn't let love become dependency, pain become hatred, or tears become weapons. It's gentleness with herself, something many women never learn. And when a woman is gentle with herself, she naturally radiates an energy that makes others want to treat her gently too. In psychology, this is emotional regulation, but in Jung's view, it's a sign of individuation. She's no longer a hostage to instinct or old unconscious scripts. She becomes the one who chooses her responses. And that choice is freedom. In love, emotional maturity is what creates lasting allure. A man may be drawn to fleeting beauty, but what makes him want to stay forever is the peace he feels beside a woman. In the end, everyone tires of noise and craves a place to return to. An emotionally mature woman is that place, a spiritual home, where others can be themselves without fear of judgment. This allure is hard to describe because it doesn't lie in seductive tactics, but in the stillness radiating from the depths of her soul. It's like the ocean. Its surface may ripple, but its depths remain constant. Those who encounter such a woman find themselves calmer, less anxious, less guarded. And they don't want to leave, not because they're bound, but because they find themselves in her stillness. Emotional maturity, then, is the final circle completing the journey to becoming a captivating, mature woman. Beauty may fade, careers may shift, but inner stillness, once cultivated, is untouchable. A woman who reaches this state doesn't chase love because love finds her. Like bees to a flower, like fire to its source. In the end, looking back at this journey, we see that these 7 habits are not just secrets to becoming attractive, but 7 doors leading a woman back to her primal self. Each habit is a small step, but together they transform life into a complete space. With the light of confidence, the silence of maturity, the gentle flow of feminine energy, and the profound freedom of independence. At this destination, beauty is no longer an external adornment, but an energy field radiating from within, untouchable yet felt by all. And perhaps the most enduring allure of a woman lies not in how many admire her, but in this: she has learned to sit in stillness with herself, and from that stillness, the world naturally gravitates toward her. Have you ever wondered why you utter phrases so familiar that you barely notice them? And have you ever considered that the words we speak daily not only reflect who we are, but also quietly shape our lives in ways we might not even realize? Carl Jung didn't define intelligence through grades or achievements. He looked deeper into how you respond, the choices you make, and the words you say. For words are the gateway to the shadow, the persona, and the archetypes that speak through you. Some phrases seem harmless, but are clear signs that a woman has not yet embarked on her journey of individuation. These are moments when language reveals unhealed wounds, unnamed fears, and beliefs that don't truly belong to her. And in today's video, we will unpack 7 phrases that a woman who is truly intelligent in the Jungian sense would never say. Not because she fears judgment, but because she is awake enough to realize a single phrase can betray her very soul. This is the moment to ask yourself, are any of these phrases living within you, unnoticed? Are there beliefs, reactions, or habitual sayings quietly controlling you while you believe you're entirely free? Join me until the end of this journey, because the answers may not only prompt you to look at yourself anew, but could also mark a turning point, from repeating unconsciously to living consciously, from being led by fate to becoming the author of your own destiny. Number 1. I'm not like other girls. On the surface, this phrase sounds harmless, even praised as unique, different, or independent. But if we dig into the psychological layers beneath, this statement is far from innocent. It is a declaration of a self that is dissociated from the very community it belongs to. And the striking thing is, it's not a declaration of freedom, but a signal of wounding. When a woman says, "I'm not like other girls," she is unconsciously separating herself from the collective feminine, as if her worth can only be achieved by being unlike other women. But in Jung's view, this is not individuality. It is a sign of an unintegrated shadow, a part of herself she has learned to deny, hide, or despise. Jung called this shadow projection, where we cast out the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge and label them onto others. In this case, a woman's shadow might be her softness, her emotions, her traditional femininity, qualities she was taught are weak, trivial, or inferior. Instead of reconciling with these parts, she learns to scorn them in others. So when she says, "I'm not like other girls," what she's really saying is, "I don't accept that feminine part of myself. I'm afraid of being like them, and I believe that only by escaping it will I be recognized." Look at real-life stories. Some girls grow up being praised as not girly like others, cool like a boy, or unusually strong, and those compliments become an unspoken reward for rejecting their own gender identity. Over time, they craft an image of difference as a shield to be loved, accepted, and safe. But beneath that tough exterior lies a child who was rejected for embodying what others labeled as girly. This phrase is the result of identifying with the persona, the social mask Jung deemed necessary for living, but dangerous if we believe it is our true self. A woman wearing the "I'm different" mask often doesn't realize she's running from herself. And in doing so, she implicitly denies the entire collective she belongs to. But the subtlest aspect of "I'm not like other girls" isn't the words themselves. It's the longing to be seen as worthy. In a culture that glorifies extreme individualism and competition, people, especially women, grow up in an invisible atmosphere of judgment, exclusion, and comparison. From an early age, we learn, to be loved, you must be different. You must be special compared to the rest. And if you can't be the perfect woman, at least be the one unlike them. It's like a branch breaking away from the tree, proud of stretching freely beyond the forest canopy, unaware that it's drifting from its roots and will soon wither. A truly intelligent woman, in Jung's sense, doesn't distinguish herself by belittling others of her gender. She understands that when you disdain what is feminine, you're also disdaining a deep part of yourself. You may have seen this in relationships. A woman who is not like other girls often seeks closeness with men by becoming anti-woman. She mocks feminine behaviors, scorns vulnerability, avoids emotions, and tries to act like a rational man. To men, this might seem appealing at first, but in the long run, she may feel lost. By rejecting the feminine within her, she also rejects her ability to connect authentically. In Jung's view, every soul contains both anima and animus, the feminine and masculine within each person. A brilliant woman doesn't cling only to her strong, rational, or logical side, but dares to descend into the depths, confronting the emotional, intuitive, and vulnerable parts society may have dismissed. She doesn't need to be different to be valuable. She is herself, whole. Moreover, she doesn't need to prove her uniqueness by negating others. She doesn't need to stand above to feel taller, but understands that depth lies not in distinction, but in harmony, with the opposite gender, with her own gender, with herself, both light and shadow. A truly intelligent woman doesn't say, "I'm not like other girls." She says, "I am a woman in my own way, and I don't need to deny anyone from becoming that." Number 2. I don't need anyone. If the first phrase shows a woman unconsciously rejecting the feminine collective to affirm her worth, the second phrase, "I don't need anyone," reveals another, fiercer, yet far more fragile defense. This statement might sound like a rallying cry for freedom, strength, and absolute independence, but under the lens of Jungian psychoanalysis, it often echoes an untouched wound. It's not the proclamation of someone healed, but the armor worn by someone hurt, shielding against the fear of abandonment. One of humanity's greatest paradoxes is this: we crave connection, yet fear it. We want to be loved, but dread exposing ourselves to potential pain. And when that fear grows too large, the ego builds a proud barrier. I don't need anyone. I'm fine alone, but this isn't true stability. It's a lonely fortress built to hide from unhealed pain. In Jungian psychology, this mechanism is tied to the shadow. The shadow doesn't just hold the ugly traits we refuse to admit, but also our primal needs and natural desires suppressed by society or ourselves. The need for connection, reliance, and love is one such part. When we deny it with, "I don't need anyone," we push that need into the darkness. And as Jung emphasized, the shadow never disappears when denied. It returns in other forms: crushing loneliness, emotional withdrawal, or toxic relationships where we both crave and fear the other. Imagine a seed. It could lie proudly in the soil, declaring, "I need nothing." But in truth, without sunlight, water, or a nurturing environment, it will never become a tree. Similarly, a person cannot fully grow by denying connection with others. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." A truly intelligent woman understands this. She doesn't deny her ability to stand strong, but she also doesn't prove her strength by rejecting connection. Because in reality, no one can truly need no one. Listen closely, and this phrase often comes from those wounded in love, family, or relationships where trust was betrayed. Instead of facing the pain, they erect an absolute declaration. But that declaration only traps them in a closed loop. I once knew a woman who, after a heartbreaking breakup, proudly said, "I don't need anyone. I can take care of myself." At first, everyone admired her strength, but over time, in conversations, you'd notice her gaze linger on couples holding hands, or the strained smile when friends spoke of love. Beneath her declaration was an unspoken longing she didn't dare admit. The phrase, "I don't need anyone," was like a high fortress wall, but one that imprisoned her in solitude. Jung emphasized that individuation doesn't mean becoming a completely isolated island. On the contrary, it requires reconciling our inner contradictions, independence and connection, strength and vulnerability. A truly intelligent woman isn't afraid to admit, "I need others," because she knows that acknowledging need isn't weakness, it's honesty. Just as a mighty tree still needs the sun and rain, a mature soul needs encounters, reflections, and support from others to keep blooming. The truth is, when you say, "I don't need anyone," you're rejecting a fundamental instinct, the instinct to belong, to bond. Humans are social creatures. Even Jung affirmed that the self, the whole essence of who we are, cannot emerge without interaction with the world. You only see your shadow when another's light shines on it. You only know your limits when you collide with others. You only understand love when you experience it in relation. No one grows in absolute isolation. And from that collision, a bigger question arises. Do you dare to change yourself when faced with your limits? Or will you hide behind a stubborn wall, imprisoning your own soul? In the journey of healing and growth, the answers to those questions are the key. As Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. When you dare to face the pain of needing others, you'll find that connection doesn't weaken you, it makes you more complete. And then you won't need to say, "I don't need anyone." Instead, you can smile and say, "I'm strong enough to need and free enough to choose." Number 3. That's just who I am. I can't change. The next phrase, "That's just who I am, I can't change," hides an even more dangerous defense. Surrender, the act of locking oneself into a fixed identity. This is no longer just armor against pain, it's a prison of one's own making. At first glance, this phrase might sound like a bold, resolute statement. This is me, take it or leave it. But through Jung's lens, it reveals an opposite truth, a fear of change, a fear of facing oneself. Because change is never easy. Change means stepping into the unknown darkness, confronting the shadow, and dismantling illusions we've clung to for so long. For many, that's too painful, so they barricade themselves with, "That's just who I am." Jung wrote, "We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses." The phrase, "That's just who I am," isn't acceptance. It's self-condemnation. It's like nailing yourself to a small, limited ego, refusing to see the possibilities dormant in the unconscious. It's the misconception that personality is fixed, while Jung saw humans as a process, a constant flow where the ego, shadow, anima, animus, and self collide, conflict, and are reborn. Picture a river. Its water flows endlessly, ever renewing, adapting to the riverbed, rain, and rocks. But if a stretch of river stubbornly declares, "I can only flow this way, I can't change," it will soon become a stagnant pond, foul and lifeless. The phrase, "That's just who I am," is a refusal of the soul's natural movement. It turns a person into a stagnant pond within their own psyche, trapping them in inertia. In reality, we often hear this phrase in relationships, when someone justifies their temper, selfishness, or hurtful habits, saying, "That's just me, deal with it." But a truly intelligent woman would never say this, because she understands that justifying rigidity is a way to evade responsibility. Change isn't about pleasing others. It's about becoming a fuller version of yourself. In Jungian psychoanalysis, the ego is only the tip of the iceberg. The submerged part, the personal and collective unconscious, holds a treasure trove of untapped possibilities. When you say, "I can't change," you're denying 90% of the potential lying dormant in that submerged part. It's like a seed declaring, "I'm just a seed, I can't become a tree." But its essence is to be a tree, a flower, an entire garden. It just hasn't dared to believe in its capacity to sprout. Jung called this journey one of constant transformation, continually facing the darkness, reconciling with rejected parts. And in that process, you don't lose yourself, you return to your true self. A truly intelligent woman understands, "I am not a conclusion. I am a process." Recall a personal experience. Perhaps you've known someone who excused their anger. "I'm just hot-tempered, I can't change." By believing that, they let their anger ruin relationships. But in truth, that anger is just the surface. Beneath it lies fear, hurt, or unnamed insecurity. If they dared to explore it, they could change, not by forcing the anger away, but by healing its deeper source. A truly intelligent woman doesn't use stubbornness as a fortress, but finds the courage to address the roots and transform from within. What about you? Have you ever heard yourself or someone around you say, "That's just who I am, I can't change"? Share your experience or perspective in the comments. Your story might inspire someone to find the courage to change. Here's the key. Change doesn't mean rejecting yourself. On the contrary, change is how you bring your true self into the light. It's like polishing a rough gem. The gem is already there, but only through painful refining does its hidden beauty shine. If the gem proudly says, "I'm already like this, no need to polish," it will forever remain an ordinary stone. A truly intelligent woman doesn't use "I can't change" to escape. She knows change is the only constant law. She can admit, "I used to be that way, but I'm learning to be different." That flexibility is true strength. Because strength isn't clinging to an old image, it's daring to break it and be reborn. Number 4. He/she drives me crazy. And once you've found the courage to change, the next question arises. Are you truly in control of your emotions? Or are you still unconsciously letting others dictate them? We often justify our anger, loss of control, or hurt by blaming